Good evening. A warm welcome to GRTS News, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. Well, my name is Winifred Nicole. It's good to have you with us once again. The visiting Inspector General of the UAE Interior Ministry, Major General Ahmed Nasir Al-Rasi, who is in the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for Interpol's top job, meets His Excellency President Adama Barrow. A close look at the flourishing seafood market. GRTS meets women oyster harvesters involved in the trade at the Tambi wetlands in Banjul. More jabs to defeat the pandemic. The Gambia receives more than 150,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine donated by the U.S. government. In sports, Japan sacks the opening director of the Tokyo 2021 Olympics a day before the start of the Summer Games for making fun of the Holocaust. And record rainstorms batter China's Henan province, triggering widespread flooding and 33 deaths. Plus, Germany approves a 470 million emergency relief package for flood victims as the country grapples with the worst flooding disaster in living memory. Well, viewers, that's the top of the news and much more coming ahead. Do stay with us. It's great to have you here. Let's begin this bulletin with a state visit by General Ahmed Nasir Al-Rashid, Inspector General at the Ministry of Interior of the United Arab Emirates, who is on a brief tour of the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for Interpol's top job. The visiting career police officer with vast administrative experience in international policing and cybersecurity, General Al-Rasi Ahmed Nasir, arrived in the Gambia on Wednesday ahead of a day-long trip. Major General Dr. Ahmed Nasir Al-Rasi day-long visit included meetings with the Gambia's Minister of Interior, Foreign Affairs Ministers, Inspector General of Police, and the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow. Kajetu Jallo accompanied the delegation and she prepared this report.
The first port of call for the top United Arab Emirates official was at the Ministry of Interior, where he had a closed-door meeting with the Minister, Yankuba Sonko. With a wealth of knowledge and expertise in the area of policing technology, international anti-crime management, amongst others, General Nasir Al-Raisi is in the Gambia to familiarize officials with his bid for the top Interpol job. The Minister of Interior accompanied the United Arab Emirates Inspector General to a meeting with Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Mamadou Tangara and later led the delegation to the police headquarters in Banjul. The visit by the United Arab Emirates Police Chief is expected to enhance security sector reform and cooperation between the Gambia and United Arab Emirates.
I am grateful to the President of Gambia for receiving me today with the delegation, and I would say Eid Mubarak to you all. And at the same time, I wish the players of Gambia and the Olympics to have really good results, and we are proud they reached to that position, as well as we met with the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we are happy with also the Inspector General that we continue the cooperation since the United Arab Emirates and Gambia have a strong, tight relationship, and we want to make it also strong in the security field, and we will continue this cooperation for the best of our two countries.
After serving 3 years as a member of the Interpol Executive Committee, General Nasir Al-Raisi is now running a presidential candidate to lead the organization. Dr. Ahmed Nasir Al-Raisi hailed the government of the Gambia under the leadership of His Excellency President Barrow for supporting his bid to lead the global policing agency.
I visited, it's a visit to an appreciation visit to this country, to thank them for the support we get always, especially in the election of the Interpol. And I've been for 3 years now in the executive committee, and I'm also running for the presidency. And I got all the support from the president and the government of Gambia.
This visit is also expected to strengthen already cordial ties between Abu Dhabi and Banjul. The courtesy call also witnessed a decoration of badges and exchange of gifts between visiting delegates and Gambia officials. Interpol enables police in 194 member countries to work together to fight international crime. The agency also provides investigative support, expertise, and training to law enforcement worldwide, focusing on 3 major areas of transitional crime, namely terrorism, cyber security, and organized crime. Khadijatu Jallow, reporting for GRTS News.
The river provides a livelihood for scores of people, including women, who continue to dominate the oyster harvesting trade across swamplands in the country. Amid an increase in demand for seafood, oyster harvesters are making more profit and discovering new markets. Taking a closer look at the livelihoods attached to the River Gambia, as Samuel Ba visited women oyster harvesters involved in the trade at the Tambi wetlands in Banjul.
This is the Josuan Fish Landing site along the Tambi Wetlands complex. The area is also home to scores of oyster harvesters and people whose livelihoods depend on the riverine trade. Women from New Josuan and surroundings make up the majority of harvesters here, but numbers are steadily growing amid an increasing demand for seafood products. One of the popular seashell products, oyster, is a great source of protein containing substantial quantities of minerals and vitamins essential to the human diet. Activities here undergo different stages of production, as can be observed here by women whose harvesting of the nutritious product can be laborious and painstaking. This lady has just returned from harvesting oysters along the capital's mangrove creeks. She then offloads the produce from the local dugout canoe into this boiling pot, where it is steamed before the final process of removing the delicious product from shells. Here, a big container has just been emptied after proper steaming, and the oyster produce is now ready to undergo another level of processing. This stage is conducted with bare hands, which can be tedious. The availability of protective gears will help a great deal in boosting production at the Tambi wetlands.
So this ground is a ground where these women can thrive, and that's why it requires protecting. Before, when we look at where we are standing, all of these things was a dumping ground. It was a wasteland. So these women were able to clear extensive areas and try to keep it as sanitized as possible. So they are also growing more and more conscious of where their livelihoods are and how best they can protect it. So this becomes the monumental responsibility of them putting a fence there, and as well as, looking for more issues in which things like storage, because the oyster is quick decomposing. So in the end, if they don't have storage, it also affects their income levels, because they end up going into the town, selling the oysters. At the end of the day, what happens? They have no profits at all, because all of it goes to a waste. So these are some of the help that these women need in order to thrive.
Moving a little further, we observed another group of women who were busy removing the product cautiously from newly steamed shells.
Yoxos dafa am time dañ dee tëj December.
Odette Sambu is one of the young ladies in the oyster trade, which helps to sustain her family. She said all they need is support to increase production and expand their market. This is how oysters are grown. Empty shells are used as collectors and strung together on ropes held apart by spacers. Aside from its edible portion, oyster shells can also be used as raw materials for poultry, cattle feed, and even construction works. These women were previously supported with a perimeter fence to protect the site, which has also been upgraded with construction of sanitary facilities. But oyster harvesters say they still need more interventions to boost their trade and sustain the industry. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
Samuel Bar there. But moving on, over 150,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 single-shot vaccine donated by the U.S. government arrived in the Gambia on Tuesday. The consignment of J&J jabs comes in fulfillment of President Biden's pledge earlier this year to support poorer nations with vaccines to battle COVID-19. The single-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine provides a robust defense against the virus and protects the vaccinated against severe diseases when infected. Ajanke Ture has more on that.
It's another important event for the Ministry of Health as the Gambia government receives COVID-19 vaccines from the United States government. The Johnson & Johnson or JJ vaccines, numbering 151,200 doses, arrived at the Banjul International Airport amidst an anticipated welcome that could stay the rising number of infections in the country. The aim of the gesture, according to the Health Minister, Dr. Ahmadulamin Samate, is to boost the national vaccination campaign to fight COVID-19 in the Gambia.
The delivery of these vaccines within a short span of time could only be due to the sacrifice and tremendous effort from many and different organizations and agencies. We can only face this COVID-19 challenge when we work together as a group. This is exemplary and needs to be emulated in many other sectors. We know that this consignment is donated by the government and people of the United States of America, and we are grateful for the...
The J&J COVID-19 vaccines was developed by Johnson Vaccines. Clinical trials saw 66.3% effectiveness. Dr. Shamila Larif Jah, WHO representative at the event, described the gesture as a significant milestone towards the fight against COVID-19.
Today we see the arrival of 151,200 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine under the COVAX facility. By June of 2021, more than 1 billion doses of COVID vaccines had been administered globally. But unfortunately, this was not equitably distributed, with the developing countries at the lower end of the table. Through high-level advocacy, partnership and negotiations by WHO and its COVAX partners, the donation of supplies of vaccines from developed countries has increasingly become part of the COVAX initiative. In this regard, we thank the government of the United States of America for this substantial donation to the Gambia.
The latest contribution of the government of the United States comes at a time when COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the Gambia.
President Joe Biden promised that the United States would become an arsenal of vaccines for the world. We've been delivering on that promise over the past several weeks, and tonight we deliver on that promise here to the Gambia. This is just the first part of the initial American contribution to vaccines to the Gambia. This first contribution will total 304,200 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I'm grateful to our colleagues who went through the epidemiology, the science, the health science behind the effectiveness of this vaccine and the statistics of just how effective it can be for those who get vaccinated. The United States is proud to do this in partnership with others. This is a story about those partnerships.
It could be recalled that in March 2020, Gambia has recorded its first COVID-19 cases. So far, 6,920 cases has been recorded with 190 deaths. Janke Ture, GRTS News.
Following last week's announcement on the mandatory wearing of face masks due to the rising COVID-19 infections, GRTS visited some key places of convergence to assess how the public is reacting to the pronouncement by government to curb the spread of the disease. Patu Ilika Molushi has more on that.
As many African countries brace up for what is known to be a third wave of the COVID-19 infections, governments are intensifying efforts to contain the global pandemic. The Gambia government has renewed its commitment to ensuring the compulsory wearing of face masks, especially in public places, where the populace unavoidably converge on a daily basis. Some renowned outlets are doing their utmost best to ensure that customers adhere to the long-stated rule. At a popular supermarket here in Westfield is the site of a busy day for buyers and store managers. However, we gathered that even though the managers are doing their best to ensure adherence to the rules, nobody is able to prevent the customers from removing their masks once they enter in the store, attaching the labs to rising temperatures that continue to discomfort many, the manager informed me during a side conversation. It will not be a different story at a famous restaurant here. Visible enough is the sight of notices alerting the customers to put on face masks. However, not much can be done, especially when it's a restaurant where people are expected to eat without a COVID vaccination certificate. But the security officer at the entrance is doing all he can to enforce the rule. We asked a customer here what he makes of the current situation.
When I am traveling in a public transport, I'll be the only person putting on face mask. I will ask them, are you sure whether the COVID-19 is on or not? And they will say, just like, they will just brush it like that. But for me, I'm an old man, 66-year-old man, and I'm an ex-footballer, ex-cricketer. I won't take risk.
At the cooperative is the usual buzz and search for vehicles to the capital city, Banjul. Some passengers are making sure they buy their masks at the very last minute, hoping that it will save them the scrutiny at the main checkpoint to the capital city, Denton Bridge. Here, the situation is not taken lightly by law enforcement officers, and some vehicles have been intercepted due to their failure of adhering to the rule either by a passenger or two.
Since the start of the enforcement of this, from Saturday up till now, the drivers and most of the passengers are complying. You go and see yourself. Since you came here, anybody going to Banjul is with masks, and every day they are complying. As we have people here even selling masks. Without masks, we just ask you to go down because you cannot go to Banjul, this capital city, without masks. So we have some people here, so many people who are selling masks. So if you don't have, you can purchase your own, then you can purchase. If somebody can assist you, you can do it.
The station officer and his team are not sparing any vehicle. The usual military presence even makes the process more tedious to ensure compliance. But van drivers and their conductors are aware of the deal, legitimizing their day's business of making a living.
Before they enter the car, we make sure they have their face masks because we respect the law and we also want them to obey the, nobody will enter without a face mask. Look at them, everybody is wearing it, alhamdulillah.
Whilst officials are making sure that the country does not record more cases as seen in other countries, the ongoing vaccination could be a bigger bet to putting this virus at bay. AstraZeneca was the first vaccine to reach the shores of the Smiling Coast, and a few months down the line was the Sinopharm vaccine. On July 20, the Health Ministry announced the donation of 151,200 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine from the United States as part of a promise by the Biden administration towards vaccine diplomacy. This follows a record of 7 new deaths and 241 new cases documented within 2 days. The SO urges all Gambians to make the work of law enforcement easy for everyone else, as the country fights against an anticipated third wave that could be catastrophic following an unpredicted rainy season without early warning systems.
As the police are enforcing the law, it's a collective responsibility for all the passengers, the drivers, the commuters, everybody. It's not the police alone. If a driver, a commercial driver, acts like a police officer, the police will not suffer on the road. Because if you want to get to my car, I said, where's your face mask? Another one the same, another one the same. Then we're going to have a very cordial.
The Gambia currently records a total of over 6,000 COVID cases, with over 189 deaths since the virus was first confirmed in March 2020. An alarm that is putting everyone, at least for the most cautious, on protective mode and adherence to laid down rules. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatu Elika Maloshi.
Another key stakeholder in the fight against COVID-19 is the Department of Public Health. As the name implies, the department is saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding public health. To tell us more about the strides being made by the department in curbing the spread of COVID-19, we were earlier joined by Dr. Buba Manjang, Director of Public Health Services, for updates on the role of public health in the fight against COVID-19. Let's take a listen for more on that.
As public health professionals, as Ministry of Health in general, is to ensure that the country and the general population is safe from the menace of this virus. So as a result, a steering committee set up by the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, that entails different stakeholders, different partners, and different ministerial bodies, representatives from different ministries. And part of that, we have different responses, that is the thematic areas. We have the surveillance team, we have the laboratory, and then we have the, as part of the surveillance team, we have the rapid response, the contact tracing, name it. So we have the structure in place, but the most important thing is we set up the, ministry is able to set up the incident management system in place, and that is progressing very well.
Good. Interesting. Now, give us a brief statistic of the state of COVID-19 in the Gambia.
Yes, as of now, we have 7,161 cases. And then within a span of 2 days, we have 201 new cases. A single day, we had 139 cases. And then another day, we have 102 cases, which is not normal because
it's alarming.
It's alarming. Yeah, so we also have 7 deaths. That gives us crude case fatality ratio of 2.8%. Out of the 706 deaths, we have 241. That gave us 34.1% test positivity rate. So this shows us that this is alarming, and then all the organs and areas have, as part of response, are active. We have 884 active cases in place, and then 24 patients are on oxygen.
Wow. Now, tell us, this is really alarming indeed. Now, what is your department doing to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the country?
Yes, we are making sure that the surveillance system is active. We're looking at the points of entries, like the airport. International travelers coming in from hotspot countries are all tested using RDT, and whoever is found positive, you are taken on quarantine, observed, and also sample is collected on you to confirm it with the PCR test. If you are positive again, you are taken to the treatment center under the case management section for sequencing. We also have the surveillance system, that's the RRT, that makes sure that any individual who is confirmed positive are taken to the treatment center. And we also have the contact tracing to identify contacts of positive cases so that they are also isolated. These are some of the activities in place, and also we make sure that people put on face masks, and also people practice personal hygiene, and then also
physical
distancing. And people should know that the COVID-19 is still around, and then those measures have to be enforced.
Good. Kindly take us through some of the hotspot countries you've been talking about.
Yes, some of the hotspot countries we have. In the beginning, you know, we talk of United Kingdom, UK. Have variants, and also we have other countries like India, that is the Delta variant, and also the hotspot countries. There are many like US, Germany, Sweden, name it. Many other countries that have been.
Now, of course, this comes with a whole lot of challenges.
Yes.
Tell us, what are some of the challenges that the ministry is currently facing?
Yes. We able to record, like government of the day was able to support in terms of financial support to the response to the COVID-19, and equally we have the incident management system in place. But with all the efforts that we are making, of course, there is also some challenges that we must be facing. The main challenge that we are facing is compliance from the general public.
Wow.
Yeah, if the public is ready to listen to us, they follow the public health advice from the Minister of Health, and also all the enforcement and response measures in place, it would have been very, very much helpful. So we had issues with compliance for the general public in terms of putting on face masks and also observing physical distancing, and also going in for programs and activities, concerts, name it. Yeah.
Wow. Now, finally, what message would you have for the public?
The general public, that is the message that I have for the general public is we are here to protect the population. Okay. That's why all the vaccinations are in place. We are telling them that we have more than 151 doses of Johnson & Johnson. Okay. And currently Sinopharm is being given at Sukuta Health Center. And also, we are giving AstraZeneca, and all measures are put in place for more doses of AstraZeneca. That is 36,000 doses, just to receive that. Okay. And Johnson & Johnson is in place. By Monday, we are starting giving the vaccine. So we are urging the general public to desist from having vaccine hesitance, but let them come out in numbers. Those who are eligible
is it only
to go for
Sukuta
vaccination.
That is issuing the?
No, that is for Sinopharm, but this other one is across the country, in all the regions. So let people come out and take the vaccine, protect, because this Delta is highly transmissible. We're trying to make sure that we curtail the disease down. And also mentioning that we have partners. Okay. In this, we have the interministerial committee in place, and also we have the bilaterals committees, bilateral partners like the US, India, China, and name it, other countries. And we also have the World Bank, World Bank, WHO, UNICEF, who are supporting us, IAM, and name it. So we are working with all these people. So we just urging everybody to put on face masks and also go and take your vaccine.
Well, Dr. Buba Manjang there giving us updates earlier on the role of the Department of Public Health Services in the fight against COVID-19. Let's turn attention to the Post-Eid market, which has greatly dampened following Eid festivities and several days of massive shopping sprees amid the Tobaski feast. As festivities wind down, market activities are slowly getting back to their daily normal. But as Zainabu Jain reports, many traders are still reveling in a good week of bumper sales.
The streets of the busy Serekunda market are empty, with less vendors and shops open, due to the aftermath of Eid al-Adha festivity, also known as Tobaski. Al-Husseini Toure, a vendor at the market, spoke on the scarcity of customers.
Alhamdulillah, wantero tata kukele, because niaji ventola jang Serekunda marse balem.
The reason why there were a lot of people in the market is because many come from other countries, but when the festivity was getting closer, they went back to their countries.
Musa Sise, who sells children's clothes at the market, says that sales went well during the period, but customers complained about prices.
Yeah, thank God the wanted has run a little, but not as usual, because many people are complaining for money, and the goods are very costly. So why people are complaining for the money, I know it's because of this coronavirus pandemic. It has disturbed many people, so it has also disturbed the business. So after this Tobaski, many people have gone also. So thank God we have make something.
Jabu Sajo, who sells various food commodities and spices, said market sales have been successful, but expressed the surge in the prices for basic consumables.
Lolu mom ci biti la wax deug yalla su ñëwé ci fanna bobu metti na lool ñun mi jënd di jaay metti na suñ kaw.
Sometimes we go back and forth with our customers who buy from us due to the increment in the prices of items we sell. Sometimes they look at us like we're evil and think we deliberately increase the prices on purpose. For example, the 20 liters oil gallon now sells at $1,770. 1 liter, if you ask, is between $150 to $125. Yaya Esdrame, who sells second-hand clothes, spoke on the market outlook and associated challenges after the Eid prayers.
Before the prayer, people used to come. The market is normal, but now after prayer, the Tobaski, many people used to go to their various home. So this is why. But immediately after prayer, the market is always down. Because right now, sometimes you may be sitting since in the morning or in the evening, you may see very few customers. But before the prayer, then Alhamdulillah, it was going normal. But it's not easy. So now we are selling the second-hand clothes and the order. So, but right now, it's not easy done.
Blessing Inachi gave us a comparison of sales before and after Tobaski.
Before the Tobaski, the sales was moving fast, especially on Monday. People came and buy spices, catfish, they call it Kong. They buy so many things, ground oil, maggi, all these onga, maggi, curry. They were coming to buy. But during this Tobaski period, the sales goes down because most people don't come to market to buy. Yes, because this fish we used to buy it $250, but now it's $275. Okay. With this one you used to buy it $250, now it's $300. Wow. The goosey we used to buy it $110, now it's $150. The ground oil carton we used to buy $1,600, now it's $2,300.
Jaina Badibawa says it hasn't been easy for her as a vegetable seller gearing up to the Tobaski. Many of her items remain unsold despite her investment.
Jangha na won fa won rek bala Tobaski bi xamna hejna si bari yere way ñun borom lejumi dega wax dega neex yalla njarte bi dafa sulo torop.
The items I wanted to sell before the Tobaski is still here and didn't sell. I had to give some to the kids to go and sell it at a cheaper price on the highway. This was sold to me 3 for $5, but today it's not selling, and now I have to sell each one for $1 each. This is not good business for me. Many have spoiled. It seems as if all I bought has come to waste, and in return, I couldn't even spend the Eid with my family. Taking us through a rundown on the daily operations of the market, Market Manager Modu Ainjai explained.
Prior to Tobaski, business is always on high gear. As you see, even to have access to the market, even within the streets surrounding the market, is always a problem. But as you are seeing today, it has gone down because a lot of people have go to pray, especially those who come from the provinces. Some others come from other countries. They have returned back. And you have very few who are now selling, which in fact, if you observe, you are not seeing all the required goods that have been needed. So it's really a big difference compared to before Idul Adha and after Idul Adha, definitely.
Okay. Sainabu Jain for GRTS News.
Well, that report by Sainabu Jain takes us to a short break. We will be back with more news right after.
Oh, there's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, AfriCell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning, your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. Time for sports, taking us to the Tokyo 2021 Olympics. The director of the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2021 Olympics has been sacked, according to the organizers, following news reports that he had previously made jokes about the Holocaust on Thursday. Tokyo 2021 President Siko Mishisoto told a briefing that Kentaro Kobayashi, who was part of a comedy act in the 1990s, had been dismissed because of comments that made fun of the Holocaust in a video clip acted in 1998. Kobayashi was seen joking about a game he called Let's Play Massacre the Jews, prompting laughter in the audience. Earlier, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, an international Jewish human rights organization, released a statement condemning Kobayashi's past behavior. Any association of the person to the Tokyo Olympics would insult the memory of 6 million Jews and made a cruel mockery of the Paralympics, according to Abraham Cooper, a rabbi, associate dean and global social action director of the center. Kobayashi himself said he regretted what he called a stupid choice of words. We will take another quick break. We will look at news from outside the Gambia right after. Don't go away. Well, we start the internationals in central China's Henan, where record rainstorms continue to batter the entire province and trigger widespread flooding. At least 33 people have been killed and 8 are missing. Authorities say 266,000 people have been relocated to safe zones, and a total of 3 million people have been affected. 9 large and 40 medium-sized local reservoirs have been waters receding to flood warning levels. Authorities are launching risk checks and managing emergencies. The capital, Shenzhou, is suffering badly after seeing daily rainfall reach the average total for a year on Tuesday to Wednesday. In the city of Shenzhen was hit the hardest on Wednesday night. Streets are torn to raging rivers after the city reported 270 millimeters of rainfall in just 2 hours. Let's stay with floods, heading to Germany, where 174 people have died from the worst flooding the country has seen in decades. On Wednesday, the German government approved a huge emergency package to support flood victims. Floods also killed 31 people in Belgium as Europe grapples with massive inundations that have taken at least 200 lives.
The floodwaters are starting to recede across much of the worst affected regions of Western Europe, allowing residents to return and assess the damage, with clean-up operations now underway. Germany has suffered the highest death toll, and hundreds of people remain unaccounted for after devastating flash floods destroyed homes, cars, roads and bridges.
You don't expect people to die in a flood in Germany. You expect it maybe in poor countries, but you don't expect it here. But it was all too fast, too quick.
Emergency services, aided by the military, continue their desperate search for survivors, with fears that more bodies may be found in the cars and trucks that were swept away in the flash floods. Emergency relief supplies and other donations are starting to arrive, with hundreds of volunteers working round the clock in the town of Neuerberg to get help to those most in need.
If you wanted to see something positive about this whole catastrophe, then it's this wave of readiness to help. I think that's great.
Search efforts are also continuing in Belgium, where the death toll continues to rise. King Philippe and Queen Matilda visited Pepinster, near Liège, the country's worst affected region. The royal couple offered comfort to one local resident who was visibly upset at the damage done to the cafe she owned. Some of the worst flooding is now centred on the Netherlands, where thousands of people were forced to leave their homes on Friday as rising waters burst a dike and swollen rivers flooded low-lying towns. Switzerland is the latest country to be hit by these exceptional rainstorms, with serious flooding reported as several lakes and rivers started to overflow. As clean-up operations get underway, there are questions over the lack of advance warnings. The debate is also growing over the need for more urgent action on climate change to prevent such catastrophes from becoming more common. Michael Voss, CGTN.
And to our earlier mentioned story, where another blistering heat wave has gripped the western United States, temperatures are reaching all-time heights, and scientists are pointing to the impacts of climate change as one of the reasons for extreme weather. In Las Vegas, temperatures have risen higher than any other city.
Built on a desert, Las Vegas is known for its hot and dry summer, but its extremes are getting more extreme. This month, temperatures soared to the city's highest on record, climbing above 47 degrees Celsius. That's 117 Fahrenheit.
This is hot. So to say it's a dry heat, that's like sticking your head in the oven. This is just crazy hot.
It's a rare moment that makes the world's tallest thermometer a major attraction in Las Vegas around this time of the year, with tourists leaving their air-conditioned cars just briefly for a quick snap.
It's currently 111 degrees, and I came out here to get a geocache. This is one, which is really cool, but I have to take frequent breaks because it's just so freaking hot. You can't go out on any trails or anything like that, or you'll just die.
Experts at the Desert Research Institute say the average day and nighttime temperatures keep breaking records, and that's partly due to man-made climate change.
So we're seeing more frequent extreme daytime maximum temperatures being broken, and then we're not seeing the cooling down nearly as much at night. And that's a combination of both urbanization and climate change combined.
The city has become a so-called heat island as it experiences many more record high temperatures than anywhere else, but some studies suggest that if the current trend continues, the city could become uninhabitable in the next 30 to 70 years.
That finding by Climate Central isn't surprising some city residents.
Well, it gets hotter every year, and that's certainly, it's not comfortable. There's no immediate effects, but it's, like I said, it's a concern for decades coming.
Those who are not used to these extremes are finding it hard to imagine living here year-round.
For a short time, maybe, but I don't know if I could do this year-round.
The so-called Sin City is synonymous with its gambling and entertainment scene, but if this climate trend continues, the city could also become known for its searing heat. It is Tian Shan, CGTN, Las Vegas.
South African forces have begun arriving in Mozambique's northernmost province of Cabo Delgado as part of a regional standby force being deployed to help Mozambique defeat violent extremists. Sources say Rwandan forces have already gone into battle with the insurgents. Officials from the South African government and the Southern African Development Community, as well as security analysis, confirmed that leading elements of the SAG standby force are already on the ground in Cabo Delgado.
Rwanda sent members of its defense forces and officers from its national police to northern Mozambique on Saturday in response to a request of support in the gas-rich nation's battle against growing Islamist extremist insurgency, which has claimed over 2,000 lives and displaced 700,000 people.
Yes, the purpose of this mission, first of all, is based on a request by the government of Mozambique to the government of Rwanda to help support in conducting military operations, including security operations and stabilization, as well as security sector reform.
Rwanda has promised 1,000 troops who will be joined by a $12 million deployment standby force mission from the 16-nation Southern African Development Community, which is to begin on July 15th for at least 3 months.
The operation is not time specific, it's mission specific. So we will complete our job first and then determine when to leave.
SADC military experts recommend that 3,000 soldiers with arms, helicopters, airplanes, and naval capacity be sent to Cabo Delgado province, where the insurgency that erupted in 2017 is growing.
Well, that's the news, but before we end this newscast, a quick look at our headline-making stories once again. The visiting Inspector General of the UAE Interior Ministry, General Ahmed Nasir Al-Rasi, who is in the Gambia to familiarize authorities with his bid for Interpol's top job, has met His Excellency President Adama Barrow. A close look at the flourishing seafood market, GRTS visited women oyster harvesters involved in the trade at the Tambi wetlands in Banjul. More jabs to defeat the pandemic. The Gambia has received more than 150,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine donated by the U.S. government. In sports, Japan has sacked the opening director of the Tokyo 2021 Olympics a day before the start of the Summer Games for making fun of the Holocaust. And record rainstorms are battering China's Henan province, triggering widespread floodings and 33 deaths. Plus, Germany has approved a $470 million emergency relief package for flood victims as the country grapples with the worst flooding disaster in living memory. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10 from me, Winifred Nicole, and the entire news team. Thanks for watching and do have a peaceful night.